Hi everyone, I'm Sylvia Ariton, and in this video I'm going to show you how to DIY some Montessori materials on a budget. For all those who have just joined our village, welcome. We have some videos already uploaded on things like decluttering, dealing with tantrums, how to set up a Montessori shelf, and much more. So please feel free to check them out. Today, we all know how expensive Montessori materials can be. So I've decided to show you how you can create some Montessori materials with some found materials in your home. So let's check out what I've got in store. Firstly, over here, we have this basket filled with some ping pong balls. I chose to fill them up with some orange and white balls. And I also have some containers that I've just found in the kitchen. The great thing with this activity is that it's an open-ended material, meaning that there are lots of possibilities. We all know how young infants love to pull things out of your utensil drawer in the kitchen or wherever they can get their hands on. So this is a great activity so that it can fill up the containers, hear the sounds that it makes, all the different types of containers, tip all the balls back out, fill them up again, sort them into colors, and it's something that's really, they just love doing. So that's a great one for your little ones. We also have something like this. Now, this is a spice jar. You can find them in the kitchen stores, $2 shops. And the great thing is that you can find these cake pop sticks as well. And all they do is they pop the sticks in. It's a posting activity. So this is a great one for probably children around 16 to 18 months maybe to start. If this is too small, so the holes here are quite small, you can also find the spice jars that have 5 holes. So they're quite large, and you can find the wooden dowel sticks to post in those. So the children can start off with that one, probably around 14 months or so, and then they can move on to this one later on. And they absolutely love this. They'll sit there for hours putting all the sticks in and taking them out and repeating the activity. So this is a really easy, simple one that you can set up at home. Next, I've got a basket full of different materials. So this is a sensory activity. I forgot to mention that this is really good for fine motor skill development and also hand-eye coordination to try and get those small sticks into the holes. With the materials in a basket, you can find some different offcuts at home, maybe some old tea towels that you're not using, some clothes that you don't want anymore. And all you do is cut out 2 patches. So with this activity, the children will match the same fabric. You can also turn it into a language activity, naming all the different fabrics. And you can also go to any fabric stores and see if they have any offcuts for free. That way you'll have access to those materials, and it's a really cheap and easy way to set up a sensory activity. We've got all different types of textures in here. So next we have an ice cube tray. This is a great activity to set up for fine motor skill development, also hand-eye coordination. All they do is, and it also encourages one-to-one correspondence, which is basically the start of any maths learning. So they can use, in this activity, I've set up an ice cube tray, a spoon, and also little pebbles. And all they do is they use the spoon to pick up the pebble and place one in each little container. Now, if you are worried about these because they are quite small, you can use something like pom-poms. You can find these in art and craft stores, $2 shops in the craft section. And you can also find these ice cube tongs. And this is great for their development as well, their fine motor skill development and their grip. So using something like that is also recommended. And, we all have an ice cube tray at home. It could be a larger one. And you can either use the tongs with the pom-poms, or if you wanted something a little bit more fine motor skill, you could use the spoon with the smaller items there. Next, we have a language activity. So at home, we all have some animals lying around. You could even go into the kitchen and find some utensils that you're not using that you could put in a tray. And then all we have to do is create the cards to go with it. So the whole idea of this activity is that the 3D object matches the 2D card. So even though it exists physically, it still exists even though it's on a 2D card. So the children will start off with matching the animal with the card, and then you can go on to labeling what the object actually is. So, you know, squirrel, hedgehog, and so on. Once they master that activity, you could then go on to something like this material, which is basically providing the object and then the matching card as a label. This doesn't happen until later on, so I think it would be best for our age group to stick to an activity like this. Lastly, we've got a maths activity or quantity, introduction to quantity. And all I've done is I've actually just taken one of these counters. So you can find these counters in a Montessori resource shop, or you could use anything at home to count with, like even a button. You could use buttons for this. And I just placed it on the photocopier and copied a card. And then I've done that. I've kept doing it. So that was 1, there's 2, all the way up to, there's 3, and it goes all the way up to 5. And what the children do then is they take a counter and they place it on the laminated circle. And then they can also find the matching wooden number as a numeral. So you could do it basically just with the counters and the cards. And then to add on an extension, you could add some numerals where they could match them to the card. So there you have it, some Montessori materials that you could actually make at home. If you do have any questions or comments about any of these materials that you've seen, or things that you might find at home that you ask, I wonder if I could turn this into a Montessori material, feel free to comment below and we'll be happy to share some answers with you.